I've been thinking a lot about women's history, and when I was in library school getting my master's, I took a class called Human Records in Society, and I really love history. But I didn't during high school and middle school. It was always about battles and wars and who was the general and what year did certain things happen. And I never felt like we were learning things about women and girls until library school. And I remember I did a big project on the history of quilts as a human record, because until more recent times, the story of women has not really been recorded as detailed and intricate as the story of men. And the story of women can be seen and witnessed in quilts, so in their handicrafts, in their recipes, in their stories, and the way they take care of their children, the people they love, and how they pass that on. So I'm Jennifer Drinka, and I've been at the library for 7 years, and I'm the library director here. So I think I'm just glancing out at our shelves. What I think is so special about the library is that all viewpoints exist together peacefully on the shelves. Every culture, every race, every religion, every background can coexist here. We're also kind of like the great leveler. Like I mentioned, I grew up without a lot of money, and so it doesn't matter what background you come from, you can access things here, and it makes things more fair. So for example, we check out telescopes, wireless hotspots, metal detectors, projectors, things that a family might not be able to afford. We have the shared resource here and a shared space to be where, let's say for teenagers working on a group project, maybe they're embarrassed to have people come to their home. This gives them a safe place to gather and meet with their friends and to be. The other thing I just wanted to mention is we definitely do staff training on all different topics. We make a really conscious effort. Throughout time, we've given staff training on working with people who have mental illness, people who have dementia. And right now we have our first diversity committee, which Sarah is a part of that, a big part of that. And I'm excited because we have staff from all departments represented on that committee, thinking of ways that we can reach out to diverse populations. So right now, one of the staff on the committee is taking a sign language class. They've sent out questionnaires to our staff to figure out what might they need more training in, to feel more comfortable working with people who maybe don't speak English, or who don't have the same religion or background as them. I think it's important, like the stories of so many people are not as highlighted in history, whether it be the story of women, and then February is Black History Month, November, Indigenous Peoples Month, and there's been different people throughout history whose stories have not been told. And I think it's really important. I do know this is an interesting fact. A program I went to at a library conference talked about, in the library, the Dewey Decimal System, under U.S. history, you're going to find the Civil War. You will not find books about women's rights, so a woman's right to vote. You will not find the history of slavery in America. That's in social problems. And so there's kind of a movement right now to think this is all U.S. history. You can't really separate out the story of women or Indigenous people, in this separate section. It's all history. And so we've been marginalized, different groups of people have been marginalized. And I think the more that we can highlight that, through displays, through programs, through what we're doing right now, and just to talk about it, that these stories all matter. Not as more important, but equally important. library, like I was just saying, was started in 1922 as an Antioch Women's Club project. It was run by volunteers until 1924, when Mary Stanley became the first librarian. And she was really instrumental in our beginnings, was here for about 20 years, and she hired an assistant, Betty Lou Williams, who became the second librarian. And when Betty Lou Williams went away to school, a lady named Marion Hardin became the director, was the director for about 20 years. And then when she retired, Betty Lou became the director again until the 1980s, when Kathy Labuda started, and she was here from 1982 to 2016. So I'm only the 5th library director in over 100 years, and have researched their lives really extensively. I feel like it's important to research them and to share their stories, because Mary Stanley and Betty Lou Williams never got married or had children. And so I feel like, who will tell their stories? So I've connected with their families and gathered a lot of pictures and stories about them. And then Mary Stanley, Betty Lou Williams, and Kathy Labuda are all buried in a cemetery here in Antioch. And so I visit their graves and honor their memory.